Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Set the Standard with your host today. I'm solo. My name is Genelle. If this is the first time you are hearing or seeing this podcast, I'm super excited. I love getting my thoughts together and doing a solo podcast. I have a YouTube channel. I'm starting to talk more about topics that really inspire me and that I feel like maybe I'm not a professional in, and I'm not perfect at articulating my thoughts fully just yet, but I figured I would have more practice moving forward if I continued to talk about passionate topics of mine and things that I want to share, because I have a lot that goes up in my mind. I know that sounds crazy, but I know that if you're listening to this podcast, maybe you do too, and maybe you can relate to that. And sometimes you want to talk about it with people, and it's hard to articulate. So I'm practicing by doing these solo podcasts and implementing my thoughts into my YouTube channel when I'm just like getting ready. I want to get into a topic I'm pretty passionate about, and I'm only passionate about this because it's something that I've had to work on for a very, 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 very long time, and probably will always continue to for the rest of my life, just because I am a control freak. So who out there loves to try to control every situation, the outcome, or maybe you don't, but you just get really down in the dumps when something doesn't go your way? So today's topic is going to be focus on what you can control and don't focus on what you can't control. I will say, my dad has really helped me implement this into my life. It's one of his best quotes. I think if we thought of all the quotes that my dad has said to me over and over and over again over the years, this is a big one. This is up there. He has said this one a lot to me, but it's so important. And even though I've heard him say it over and over again, I'm going to talk today about why I think it's important, share maybe my thoughts behind it, where originally I got the idea sparked, and then also some tips and the benefits of it. So we all deal with disappointment and emotions in life, whether we want to or not. We're human beings. So I think that this topic is super important for just the overall mental stability of human beings. To get right into this, even though my dad has talked about it for so many years and for so long, I actually was in church. There's a few churches I go to around LA. I'm kind of trial and erroring right now with churches. And there's one I really like. And there's the main pastor there. And he did a word a few weeks ago. And he talked about the idea of not being able to control your own existence. So by that, he was saying that every day when you wake up, it's a blessing because you don't get to choose if you wake up. Now, granted, you can always say there are people out there that choose to do harmful things to themselves. And even then, with that, they didn't even choose to come into this world. So essentially, you start your life out of control. You have no control over externally what happens to you when you start your existence. You don't get to pick what time period you came in consciously. You don't get to choose like when you're born, anything, even what eye color you have and certain genetics. Like you don't get to choose any of that. Obviously, now we know that parents can go and choose their child's height, I think, and stuff, and hair color and all that crazy stuff. But you understand, most of us are not choosing right on day one. We didn't choose our day one. So essentially, the essence of a human being is not even being able to be in control of things externally. But there's so many people and so many things coming at us, and we're reacting and we're trying to control things that we simply cannot control. So I'm going to talk about what we can control so you get a little bit of relief, hopefully. And by the way, I'm no expert in this topic at all, and I'm new to podcasting. So if some things don't always flow, bear with me. But I hope, and my point of doing podcasts like this is spark maybe an idea within yourself, or even just a small realization that maybe you can overcome something that you're feeling very drowned in right now. Being happy. The average person finds happiness in controlling stuff. What kind of job they want to go for, clothing that they pick out, how someone reacts to them, or if they go on a date or they at least try to. And we have the power to tweak our own reality into how we feel about things that have already happened to us. So basically controlling the reality, even though we may feel slightly out of control. Because like I said, you can't control ultimately externally what happens to you. Can't control external events, but we can control how we react to external events. So can't control externally, we can control internally. I'll give you a few examples. So with dating, I have had a friend that has had similar dating experiences to me. Many friends, but we'll just say one for now. Recently. And she's come to me in almost identical situations we have had. And she's so down on herself. She's just letting this weigh on her confidence, all these things, right? So I've had a very similar experience, but I was unbothered. Similar experiences, different reactions, different realities, different types of emotions. Someone feels out of control, someone feels more in control. And let's say someone goes on a first date. They have a great time. Maybe we're a little love bombed. I've been there. Maybe you've been there. I know my friend has been there. Leave the date, and maybe the guy isn't serious about you. And you're like, wow, I was on this date with this guy or this girl, and they were saying all these sweet nothings to me, and now they're just kind of breadcrumbing me, or just, gosh, I'm so mad. I'm thinking about this person all the time. And then the other person is like, oh, okay. I got another date lined up, or I'm going to go do this hobby that I put to the side for a second, or I actually have work I got to work on. The difference is similar experience. The difference is one person looks as like they just can't, they're like, I can't believe this person doesn't like me, and they're not dating me, and they're not obsessed with me right after the first date, and they said all these things. And their reality is them feeling, they're focusing on how something externally they literally cannot control. They're focusing. So the things that they can control in their world, like their job performance, how their body looks when they're eating and working out. And obviously we have different genetics and stuff like that, and we can only control so much, like how big our butt is or whatever. But you get my point. So instead of focusing on things that you have control in your own world, you're focusing on a complete external world. So you're taking away from yourself. I'll give another example that's an identical situation. Two people at the same job, same boss, doing the same thing. One person shows up to work happy every day, and the other person shows up miserable. The difference between these two people in the same reality is that one is focusing on how their reaction is towards that job and or changing it up. And it's the idea that we're trying to control the outer world, but we don't actually have the power to do that. And I believe it stems from the essence of our reality of when we're born, we don't even control that. To think that we can go around and focus on the things that we can't even control in the outer world is actually insanity. Because the definition of insanity is trying to do something over and over again and expect a different result. So it's crazy. And that's why sometimes you may feel crazy. You're like, I feel really crazy right now. I've been there. I haven't been perfect. So you only have the power over your thoughts and emotions. So what's inside? What is inside? But where your true power comes in my personal opinion, is you being able to control out there by controlling what's in here. So with a horrible dating experience, or you're kind of let down, if I choose to not let it really get to me and be like, oh, this is a first date, that person doesn't really want to continue seeing me, or they want like a roster of people, and that's not what I'm looking for. Instead of being like, what's wrong with me, all stuff, you can be like, okay, like I'm going to continue moving forward. And now I know with this person I was really attracted to, this isn't my person. This isn't going to be the person for me. This is not, I don't want someone like that. And they're whatever. So then I controlled the outer world by just changing my thoughts and emotions towards an outer external event coming at me. Okay, I learned from that. That was a great learning experience because I thought he was that guy. And now I know for sure the way he's communicating with me, treating me, or even maybe a date he took me on. Like, that's not my guy. That's not my husband. That's not my partner. That's not my person. Same thing, with a job. Gosh, my job is really draining. I'm going to start job searching. I'm going to get on the hustle. I'm going to take the time now knowing that I do have a job. I'm going to go in, getting a paycheck, la-di-da. And I know that in time, as I'm praying or whatever you choose, I choose to pray. It helps me a lot. I recommend it. You then can change the external world technically by controlling what's inside. Another thing too is some people will be like, well, that person made me so mad. Like, this person did something very mean to me and horrible, right? Okay, I'm not saying you're not allowed to have a moment because we also don't want to bottle things up. So that's a tip number 1. Don't bottle things up. Definitely have a little moment. If someone really hurts you, there's terrible stuff that happens in the world externally that you really cannot control. You can't. And I've tried to understand things. There's also things that I've realized that I'm never going to understand because I cannot control externally why that person acted the way they did. So because I can't control it, I can't understand it. It makes no sense. So with that, I think to myself, okay, that was annoying. You can have your moment. Because sometimes if you do bury emotions, people do this. It can bottle up. You can hold resentment. And you don't want to do that either because that's just holding on to bitterness. And holding on to bitterness is also just being mad about something you couldn't control over a long period of time. So don't do that. But like the little things, if someone cuts you off in traffic, I used to kind of like whatever. Now I'm just like, okay, you're having a bad day. I hope you're okay, and then I'm still smiling and I'm chilling and I don't let it get to me. And that person can stay mad. Here's the other cool thing about it makes you feel like you're more in control. Let's say someone does something to you. Let's say you're a person known to react. Okay. And a person does something to you, or let's even say, for instance, like a guy is used to a girl reacting to something they do. So like, oh, I know this girl's going to complain because every other girl I've dated has acted this way, da 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 da, or whatever, because people think sometimes women don't have control over their emotions, whatever. So a guy will be like, oh, I know women like react to this or whatever the situation. A friend, I've had friends not like when I think this way or say this. If you react with no reaction or not being mad, okay, for sure. And you let it go and you realize you can't control what that person is doing to you, whether they're annoying you, not doing something for you, when you've had conversation with them, whatever it is. You're controlling that reality that you're not that mad. And then you proactively go and work on how you just don't want to almost react. You know what I mean? I don't want to have to be dealing with BS. So what do? Avoid situations I know that there's going to be BS around. Just a thought. And then people will be like, wow, she didn't get mad. Wow. She ended our situationship and she was very graceful. Spoke very openly. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She didn't throw anything at me. Whatever. You'll be having people so surprised. Controlling emotion can change any outcome. Some benefits of focusing on what you can control and not focusing on what you can't control. Number 1, you have more time on your hands. That sounds kind of nice. You have more time to do things and try things that you want to try or that you enjoy. How cool is that? Because, listen, this is embarrassing to talk about. But I have been so hurt by somebody before, which rightly so. I will never put myself down too much because I've learned from how I've overreacted to certain situations. But when I went through my first breakup or when I dealt with a family member, I used to react a lot and it would push me down and took away from time from maybe a workout, maybe some self-improvement, working on my singing voice, working on a video, working on any skill that I wanted to do, trying to control and focusing on things I couldn't control took away from the internal self and the things that I love and want to be working on. Now you're sitting there, oh, I don't have hobbies. I'm boring. I don't have it. Figure it out. You've got this. I bet you there's one thing you want to improve on, you want to do. Paint. Write a poem. I've been writing poetry. Why? Am I good at writing poetry? I don't know. But I have time because I'm so much less focused on the things that I can't control and reacting appropriately to change my outcome. That was tip number 1. Tip number 2, mental strength. It builds mental strength. You're not going to be perfect when you try this right away. I haven't been, and I know I will never be perfect. We are not supposed to be perfect beings. We are highly flawed human beings, but we're intelligent. So we can correct ourselves over time and become mentally stronger. I know through things that have hurt me or things that have made me angry. I've had friends abandon me for no reason, or they don't tell me a reason. It's not like I did anything horrible to them. They just abandoned me and I would react. I would be petty and unfollow them because they didn't talk to me and tell me or whatever it is. And now if a friend decides to just leave and not say why and then be very passive instead of me coming at them and yelling at them for something maybe they're going through. You never know what other people are going through because you can't control it. You don't know what their mind is thinking. I'm building mental strength on how to handle people who I cannot physically, literally, I cannot control them. So even with a guy, I noticed when I was dating, the first couple of guys would kind of get under my skin. If they did something or I was like, ew, God, or I'd really let it get to me, or I'd be like, he's really liking this girl's picture. Maybe he's talking, like thinking about stuff that's so silly. I realized I stopped reacting. I let it play out. I held and created boundaries and standards. So, because sometimes with that kind of stuff, your emotions can get involved. And then it's hard because you get heartbroken. So in the first parts of dating where you don't know where things are going to go, I really, I'm saying be emotionless. Just really take it in. That's why getting to know a person is important before you do physical things with them that cause emotional reactions. I don't care, ladies, how emotionless you say you are. We are emotional beings. So I realized that I built crazy emotional strength. And sometimes a little scary. Like I'm dating someone right now and he's like, sometimes the ability for you to just and move forward is it's intimidating and it's scary. It's so powerful. And like I said, I'm not perfect. I get hurt and I get like emotional and I want to be loved. I'm not emotionless. So yeah. So that brings me to the next point. If you have more emotional strength and mental strength and more time, you have more peace and you have more happiness. You're going to be happy all day, every day of every second of your whole entire life. Maybe there's a couple of you out there, but I know for me, that's not always going to be the case. There's ups and downs. There's love and loss and things in life that just aren't, days you're sick, like you don't feel good, whatever, but you'll have a lot more peace and happiness. So those are a benefit. The last benefit is an overall outlook on life. It allows you to, when you're focusing on the things you can control and not focusing on the things you can't control, it allows you to see life more beautifully in a way where you're like, wow, I don't understand that, but that's totally fine. And I'm going to learn and observe what I can and then take that in and appreciate it, learn from it, study it, get inspired by it. I like that. Some tips. I said this earlier, don't push away your emotions. So don't feel them. Don't bury them. I think it's fair to say there are life events that you want to feel. Should it make you bedridden? I don't know. I don't think anything is worth being bedridden. There are tragic things that happen though. And I've been through some tough ones. I don't have a relationship with a very, very, very close family member of mine. And it hurt. It took years and years and years to just grieve that idea. And there are still moments I have people checking on me. They're like, do you ever think of, this person? Sometimes I'm like, no, I don't. But I'm cool with that. And then there are times I do feel it. And I allow myself to go, okay. And then I go, that's my reality. Part of this was me. Most of it was them. No, I'm just kidding. It takes two to tango. I know I'm not perfect, but I also can't control something in them that isn't for me. And they don't want to control something in them that I don't like. So don't bury your emotions. If someone breaks your heart, feel it. I've had my heart broken, and it's okay to cry. It's okay. Should you lose your job over it? Should you completely lose yourself in it? No, it's not. You can't control it. You can't. And you can't just let yourself die. You can't do that. You have to live. Remember, every day when you wake up, you're not choosing to wake up. You're just waking up. That's something you can't control. Obviously, like I said, if we go to the extreme, you know what I'm talking about. But for all of us here, you're in no control of that. That also can be very scary too. A tip, be content with or without. I think for a long time I was like, I need love in my life. I need to have love. I need to have a boyfriend. So much so that without it, I felt pain and loss and I couldn't get over it. But through healing and how I changed my reaction, I changed my world. And I was content with or without love. And I knew that I'm a lovable person because I'm working on myself and I'm being a better me. And I know that I would be loved. And I know this is a whole nother topic, but some of you may be like, I don't know if I'm worthy of love. Listen, I get it. I've been there. Why do I deserve this unconditional love? Why do I, But I think that's a whole other topic. And I was content with or without love or a boyfriend. Some people just cannot stand to not have a partner. You got to be content with or without something because nothing is forever. And that's the truth. It's not. Because maybe if you could control it, you would have it forever. I know there are some things that I would have, but you can't. So I have to be okay with that. Change your reaction, change your world. I hope you guys like this podcast episode. It was kind of quick. I just wanted to really get this out there and talk to you guys, connect with you guys a little more. I think sometimes when it's not my dad and I just discussing, that's why I really want him to do a solo pod. I think we're talking and this really gives me the intimacy with you guys, that connection that I want to continue to grow. I think it's super important and what I really care about on social media. It's about connection with people and hearing their thoughts on this kind of stuff. So let me know down below your thoughts and what you guys think about this topic. Maybe how you've learned to focus on what you can control and not what you can't, and how it's made your life better. But then also feel free to sound off in the comments about how you're feeling weak and you're feeling down bad. And you're like, I am grieving over this love, this person, this family member, this event in the world. I'm in so much pain. And that's okay too. But to continue the world going on, you being full of love and reacting towards things you can control will only push this world to a more peaceful, happy place. So these tragic events won't happen. Hopefully you can inspire other people from not doing bad things to other people. So it'll only hopefully spiral and snowball and create that momentum. So anyways, I really hope you guys like this podcast. I was trying to keep my voice down because this mic picks up everything. So sorry if I'm like talking like this. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I enjoyed this. This is so fun. I'm going to do another solo pod about feminism coming up here in the next few weeks. And I'm so excited because you may not like what I have to say, but you also may love it and be like, oh. So anyways, thank you guys so much for listening or for watching. Follow us, subscribe. I'm here for you guys. If you're going through a hard time, let us know. We're here for you because we're also not here just to preach and then dip. We're here for you guys. So anyways, have a blessed day and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.